There we go. Okay. Welcome to Module 2 of NSA New Jersey's Aspiring Speakers Program. My name is Rochelle Rice, and with us tonight is Anna Banks, who is the Dean of the Academy, and our guest speaker is Gary Rifkin. Before we get started, just a reminder that we'll probably go till about 9:15 tonight. If you have to leave for any reason, just say goodbye, and this is being recorded for anyone who can't stay the whole thing or for anyone who's not here tonight. So again, I want to welcome and say thank you to Anna, who's our Dean, and I can imagine you all thought it was a very quick month. Is that correct? Like, did it just fly by and all of a sudden it's like Module 2? So, well, I am pleased to introduce to you tonight Gary Rifkin, who is a past president of the NSA North Texas chapter. He is also a recipient of one of only 12 recipients of the Joseph J. Charbonneau Award, which is presented in North Texas. It's given to the person who exemplifies the highest standards of excellence and professionalism. He continues to be of service to not only his chapters, but to NSA, who he has served for 18 years in NSA. He is also the 2015 recipient of the Cavett Award, and this is probably the highest, it is the highest award that we have within our organization. He is a certified facilitator with Core Clarity, and I am proud to call him my friend. Please welcome Gary Rifkin.
Oh, there's applause and everything. I like it. So imagine that you are a brand new speaker. I'm guessing for many of you that is not hard to do. But for most of us, there was a time when we weren't sure what we wanted to do, or we were sure, but we then began to go in a new direction. And for me, that was about 18 years ago when I was a training director at a company in Dallas, and somebody invited me to an NSA chapter meeting. And I immediately found my home. And so I suspect that's what has already happened for some of you in New Jersey. And what I'm hoping to do tonight is kind of walk you through the professional awareness section of the Academy guidelines, knowing full well, number one, that those kinds of things change regularly. So as we start to work through that module, you will notice already some things that are out of date, both in NSA parlance and in some of the associations that are connected to NSA. So we'll take a look at some of that. But I want you to be thinking, as we go through everything tonight, I want you to be thinking about what will this look like for you in 20 years? Because 20 years ago, I never would have guessed that I would be doing a seminar for all of you about NSA, and here I am. And so I always want you to be thinking ahead to what would this look like when I'm doing this for a group of speakers in 2036 instead of 2016, which is probably going to happen for one of you. Don't know which one yet. I'm guessing it will probably be Stella because she was the first one on, so she knows where she's supposed to be. So I love that. The other thing is, I'm glad to know that we can be interactive, because I don't do well when it's just me talking and everyone listening. I like it to be interactive, and so I suspect as we work our way through the module that there will be some interaction, and with Rochelle as our moderator and Anna as the other moderator, we will be able to kind of make sure that you all have a chance to be a part of this, if that's acceptable to everyone, and I suspect that it is. So Rochelle, everyone has the module already, correct? You're muted. You're on mute, Rochelle.
They should all have
there we go.
Module 2 printed out, hopefully.
Yep.
That we're following on. Good.
Cool. And I do have it. I don't know if there's value. I've also got it on my desktop, so if there's value in doing a screen share, we can do that as well. Maybe that would make some sense, because they'll still be able to see a little shot of me when we do screen share. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let's do that. So let me see if I can figure that. That'll be kind of fun to see if I can figure that out. So we're going to say share screen. And are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
So I've already jumped ahead to the ethics, so let me get to the right spot here. This is the one we want.
Very cool.
So, yeah. So this, well, that's a little too small. There we go. The NSA Speakers Academy, Professional Awareness. Some of you may have, as you started to look at it, thought, well, do I really need to know any of this? And the honest answer is you don't need to, but you want to. Because understanding how you fit into the puzzle as a professional speaker and how NSA fits into your puzzle as a successful speaker, I think is going to be really valuable. And so let's take a look at, I'm not going to read things to you, but I do want to talk through kind of in order some of the things that I see on here. And I'm not going to give you a lot of specifics because I know you can find those. I suspect by now you already know that the website for NSA is nsaspeaker.org. And there's a lot of data there. And you can find a lot of this information. But I'll try to walk you through some of these things from a layperson's standpoint. I've never served on the national board, but I've worked with many of the boards. So let me kind of talk you through a little bit of NSA. So I know that you already know that NSA stands for the National Speakers Association. Some of you may not know that there was an attempt a couple years ago to change the name to another name, and too many people were too much in love with NSA for that to really work. And so I'm happy to say, because I was one of those people that was really pleased to keep this National Speakers Association name, that NSA will continue to be NSA. And the organizational structure is fairly simple. There is a national staff that is based in Phoenix, actually in Tempe, Arizona. Very, very well, a high-end staff of professionals who are meetings professionals and association professionals. And that staff is governed by our board of directors. The board of directors is made up of, I believe, 18, I think it's 15 full board members plus officers. And so every year, 5 new board members are brought onto the board for a 3-year term, and they can stay on for a second 3-year term, and then they have to leave the board unless they move into the presidential succession. So interestingly, actually one of the members of both NSA New Jersey and NSA New York, Ron Carr, is the immediate past president of NSA. So you all have royalty in your midst, which I really love. But how NSA does it, and how some of the chapters do it as well, is you get, when you're on the board for a certain amount of time, you decide you want to potentially be nominated to be the president, and the board itself determines who the finalists are, and then they vote on the new president. But that person doesn't actually become president. They become the vice president. The following year, they become the president-elect. The following year, they become president, and then they become immediate past president. So it's actually a 4-year commitment. And part of the reason they do that is to make sure that people are ready. So the person that was elected as the vice president this past year, Brian Walter, he is vice president all of this year. He'll be president-elect all of next year, and then he will be president the year after, which gives him plenty of time to begin to prepare for how he's going to lead the organization during his year as president. So how are the individual board members elected? Well, they're first nominated by our membership. So anyone that's a member of NSA can nominate anyone to serve, to any full professional member to serve on the board. Then the board has a nominating committee that interviews those folks. Actually, there's a interview or a application process first, and folks complete the application. They winnow that field down to, I don't know if there's a set number. I know that at times it's been 20 and then down to 10. And then they bring people to the winter conference for interviews, which will be happening actually at the end of this month. And then those folks that are being interviewed will find out almost immediately. I think they find out within that next day if they've been selected for the board or not. And inevitably, there are always 5 slots, but there might be 1 or 2 people that are returning from the previous year. And so we will always see 3 or 4 new folks coming onto the board, and typically 1 or 2 that are returning to the board, so that the board has a full slot of 15 folks. The membership categories, I'm jumping down. You know what? Let me back up a second and talk about the current leaders, because your president right now is a woman by the name of Ruby Newell Legner. Has she been to your chapter yet, Rochelle?
Anna's going to have to answer that. Anna, has she been to New Jersey?
I don't think, I think Anna's probably on mute.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, I'm back.
Hi there.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, so you all
and
know.
Ruby was great.
Yeah.
Ruby was absolutely great.
I am such a huge fan of Ruby Newell-Ledner, partially because she walks her talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she does.
What you're going to find about the NSA people that you meet along the way is that most of them, and I will be honest, not all, but most of them walk their talk. Mm-hmm. And with Ruby, the reason people fall in love with her is that she's all about the fan experience. And so we as people that are being led by Ruby become raving fans of Ruby Newell-Ledner because she's so good at leading from the heart, which I think is what NSA is all about. So she is the current president. Dr. John Molidor is the current incoming president. He's the president-elect. So he'll take over this summer at the end of the NSA convention. And then, as I mentioned, Brian Walters, the vice president, and he'll move into that next slot. And then we don't know who will follow Brian. We'll find that out this summer. So membership categories have just recently changed and have evolved, and they are always evolving. And so there are categories. It used to be that if you were in an emerging speaker setting, like as you are now, you couldn't be a member of NSA. You could only be an affiliate of NSA would be the term I would use. And now you can choose to be a member as an emerging speaker, as an aspiring speaker. And that's an option that you have. You have to join the National Academy, which is not the same as the local academy. Most of the chapters have local academies, not all do. But anyone can join the National Academy, which is called the Academy for Professional Speaking, and then be affiliated with NSA, at which point you then get all the benefits of NSA, except you can't vote. You can't do a few other things, but you can come to events at member rate. You get the Speaker Magazine, which we'll mention a little bit later, and the Voices of Experience, both of which are really outstanding learning tools. So the 4 guiding competencies that guide NSA, I would love to know how many of you actually know what those are, and if somebody would like to share them with us. So if you'd like to unmute and share with us what you think those 4 E's are that we call them, that would be awesome, and then we can kind of talk through them a little bit.
I'm not sure of all 4 of them, but can I take a crack at it?
Absolutely, I would love that.
How about excellence?
We'll keep going and then we'll come back.
All right. I have education, entrepreneur, expert, and excellence, and I know it's not all right.
Well, no, so what's interesting is although those aren't exactly the right words, those words represent really wonderfully the E's. So the E's, the 4 E's are expertise, eloquence, enterprise, and ethics. And if you think of those, expertise is knowing that you know what you know and understanding what you know so you can share it with your audience in whatever fashion that might be, whether it's speaking or training or coaching or consulting. But it's that expertise. It's getting good at your internal knowledge and what you can share with an audience. Eloquence is pretty obvious. It's that stage, it's those stage, not just the stage presence, but even the stage mechanics of knowing how to work with technology and all those things that one needs to do to be effective on the platform, whatever that platform might be, whether it's a stage or a classroom or a one-on-one visit with someone. The 30 is enterprise, and that's the business sense. And to be totally honest with you, I would say the majority of folks in NSA struggle more with the enterprise E than any of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Because it's those things that when we're really good at speaking and we're really good at understanding our content, some of us are not necessarily good at actually running a business. Those of you that are entrepreneurs already, you're probably much better at the enterprise E than a lot of longtime speakers are. And then the 4th E, and I think it's probably the most important one, is ethics. And I'm going to actually hold off on that one because I want to spend a little time on that a little later in the handout. So the national headquarters and staff, does anyone know the name of our executive director? Yep, Barbara. You're muted still, so unmute.
I looked it up.
Excellent. I love that.
Okay. Stacy Telschner.
Very close. Very
I
close.
can't pronounce it. I can spell it,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah.
Stacy Techner.
Telschner.
And Stacy has been with NSA longer than I have. He's been around for over 20 years. He's been the executive director for the entire time that I've been in NSA. He has won all kinds of awards. He is one of the finest executive directors throughout the entire association industry. And part of that is because he understands the members, but he also understands how to run an association. So I think you'll really like getting to know not just Stacy, but also the staff. And if you've ever called the NSA headquarters, and if you haven't, you probably will at some point with questions about membership or events, the staff is really, really outstanding. So I think you'll really enjoy interacting with them. I would love to hear from a few about what you think some of the benefits are of both national membership, either as an academy member or as a full member, and also chapter membership. So would anybody like to share one or two thoughts about what some of those benefits are? And I'm not worried that we'll talk over each other. So if you have an idea, go ahead and unmute and just kind of pipe in. Rochelle and I are very comfortable just kind of talking over you.
Okay, I'll take a stab at it. How about that? The reputation, because once you get that professional behind you and that logo, it kind of gives you a notch above somebody who doesn't have that professional.
That's right. That's right. What else?
I think the benefit is sharing. The information from the other speakers that I've gone to, chapter members, has been overwhelming, and I've never walked away empty-handed in my brain.
Barbara, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Anything you all could say for me is never going to hold a candle to the sharing, because one of the things that we've experienced in NSA, and it's part of the reason why I love this organization, and somebody isn't muted that's got, yeah, awesome. What I love about this organization is that we are very comfortable sharing our trade secrets with each other. And so what you'll see at an NSA event, whether it's a chapter meeting or a national event, is you'll see people chatting with each other about, hey, I'm struggling with this, what did you do? Or, hey folks, I came upon this great idea, let's talk about it. And it's not, oh, and by the way, I'd like you to pay me for the idea that I just shared with you. It's, let's see if we can share with each other, because potentially there's enough to go around. And that has been my experience throughout NSA, that my mentors are people that I just kind of gravitated toward and brought me in and then said to me, I only ask one thing of you. If I'm going to mentor you, you have to mentor other people as well. And so that pay it forward model is a key component of NSA. And I think it's really what sets us apart from a lot of associations, especially trade associations. I remember speaking once for the PHCC, I'm trying to remember it, Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors Association. Great organization, but they were a little guarded with what they knew about their businesses because they looked at each other as competitors. We don't tend to look at each other as competitors. We look at each other as collaborators and comrades in arms, if you will. And that's what I love about NSA. I think it's the biggest benefit. And if Rochelle or Anna want to chime in on that, I suspect you've probably had a similar experience.
Well, Gary, what I would like to say, and I think we know this in the spirit of CAVIT, but unfortunately it's not a tangible, meaning it's not something we can touch or list. But as Gary said, this has got to be the biggest benefit to me, is the network of people and the open sharing of information. So, and Gary, as always, you're a fine example of this tonight, just being here with us tonight. So this is why I'm here.
Well, I'm just doing, so here's the other thing you're going to learn about NSA. You will start to create relationships, and then all those years that you learned how to say no will go right out the window. So Rochelle said, can you please help? And I said, well, I can't say no to you. So it is one of the cornerstones, actually, of this association, that we are so supportive of each other. And it's what I love about it. So one of the questions here says, what is a PEG? I'm going to tell you the answer to that, but you don't need to know it because the PEGs are actually no longer. But PEG stood for Professional Expert Group. And they've changed it up, and they're kind of revamping that whole concept. So there was a time where you could join the keynote peg or the humor peg or the health and wellness peg or the education peg when that was where your expertise focused. But that has just recently gone away, and they're starting to get more of kind of interest groups and making some things a little more informal. So you'll see some more of that as the organization continues to modify and figure out where it wants to go with those special groups. Upcoming national and local events. So here's the rule. Whatever you can do, save whatever money you can, put money aside, borrow if you have to, get to the NSA national event. Mm-hmm. I have never missed in the 18 years, even in the 3 years when I couldn't afford to go, I've never missed an NSA national event. Because it, for me, is the same thing as paying my taxes or anything else. It's a must. I have to go to the NSA national convention. Part of the reason is that you will go, and when you come back, you will be overwhelmed, but you will also, for me, it's that yearly kind of booster shot that I need, whether I'm having a great year or a lousy year, I need the NSA convention. Great education, great inspiration, and then as Rochelle and Anna will tell you, unbelievable networking and connections. Some of my dearest friends I made through NSA national conventions. So if you can get to Phoenix this summer, get there. If you can't get there this summer because, boy, that's only 5 months away and I can't save enough by then, or 7 months I can't add, start now to plan to be in Orlando next summer. The smaller events, the winter conference and the labs are great, and I would love for you to go to those. But if you can only go to one thing, go to convention. It's not inexpensive. Don't be afraid to room with someone the first few times, because rooming with someone actually gives you somebody to download everything and debrief with in the evenings. But it's awesome.
Gary, yeah, I just wanted to jump in here and just say, and it's also a blast. You know, I don't know about many of the people who are on the call in the session tonight, but I live with a lot of stress, and so anytime I can go someplace, learn something, be surrounded by people who are just subject matter experts in their field, but also have great parties and laugh a lot. Yeah,
it's fun.
To be. Yeah, it's really, it's a lot of fun. So I don't know, maybe fun and laughter is not high on your list, but on mine, it definitely is. It's a big departure from everyday life.
I'll tell you, folks, recently I went through, I found all these boxes and I pulled them out, and some of them were from the first few conventions I went to. And I found some of the notes I took. In fact, I found a note that I'd forgotten about that I took in a workshop that I've been using for the last 18 years. It's something I've done in a lot of my workshops that I realized I learned at my first convention, that somebody was doing a breakout session on interactive activities that you can do in training sessions. And she said, use any of this that you want. I hope you do. And I just discovered that I've been using one of those techniques for a year. So I sent her a note about 6 months ago, and I said, I just wanted to let you know I just came across this, and I've been using this technique you taught me 18 years ago. And she was floored that I remembered that. And of course, I'm floored that I found the document, but there's so much to learn and so many awesome people, and it's definitely a not to be missed attraction. For those of you that are old enough, it is what we would call in the Disney realm an e-ticket ride. Some of you do not remember e-ticket rides, but when we were kids, it wasn't just you pay once and you get into the whole park. You got this ticket book, and the best rides were the e-tickets, and that's convention. You can't miss it. One of the cool things that happens at convention is they announced that year's class of certified speaking professionals. These are people who have been in the business for some established period of time, typically at least 5 years, have earned a certain income, typically at least $50,000 a year, have had a certain number of clients, a certain number of presentations, and then have had 20 of those clients do formal feedback forms on those presentations over the last 10 years, and have had past CSPs review their videos. And that's when they get confirmed as a certified speaking professional. Rochelle Rice and Gary Rifkin both walked the stage this year together, getting our certified speaking professional designation.
Yay! Yay!
It's something that you should strive for. So the first step for many of you is to strive to qualify to become a full member of NSA. And then the next one should be to earn your certified speaking professional designation. So CPAE, you don't need to know this, but I'm just going to tell you anyway, stands for Council of Peers Award of Excellence. What you do know is that the subtitle of that is Speaker Hall of Fame. And each year, 5 speakers from around the organization are selected by the CPAE committee, which is made up of current CPAE holders, to get this CPAE designation. It's a special Hall of Fame membership. And what's so cool about it is that they don't tell anyone other than their family that they're getting this. And so at the banquet, we're all trying to guess as the introducer is starting to kind of give the backstory on this person. We're trying to guess, I wonder who it is. I wonder who it is. Oh, wow, that sounds like Ron Culberson. Or, oh, wow, that sounds like, and you start to guess who it might be. And then they announce the name and the person goes up and they give their speech. And for many of them, it's a speech of a lifetime. But it is an honor that is bestowed from their peers that they have achieved a level of excellence. It is totally based not on service to the organization, but on their ability to be an outstanding speaker on the platform at all times. So video is reviewed, marketing materials are reviewed. And if you can think about it, there are thousands of members of NSA. They choose 5 each year to be in the Speaker Hall of Fame. So it's a really amazing honor. And it's a memorable event. A member of the New York chapter, my God, I'm blanking.
Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Hazlett was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame this past summer. You may know Jeffrey because he is very well known around the business community. He is an outstanding business expert. And so you might want to even check out some of Jeffrey's videos, and he's got a talk show that is really outstanding and actually spoke at convention this year. And then the Cavett Award. So most chapters have some kind of an award that's given either annually, or I know in our case at our chapter, we don't give it every year. We give it at those times when we believe somebody has earned it. But it's the award that's given to the person who, in the opinion of the current award winners, epitomizes the values and the legacy of the founder of NSA, Cavett Robert. And so each year, that's the big award. And I will tell you that as the person who got it this year, you don't know you're getting the award, and you're pretty stunned. And even unlike the Academy Awards where you know you've been nominated, you don't even know you've been nominated. And so it's a pretty wild experience. And I've never done this before, but I'm sitting in front of my Cavett here. So, oh, here he goes. So this is Cavett. And it is actually a statue of the founder of NSA, Cavett. Oh, did you want that back up there? Yeah. There he is. It's a pretty wild experience. What was interesting for me is that the first probably 2 or 3 years that I was in NSA and I went to the banquet, I didn't know who any of these people were that were getting their CPA Hall of Fame awards. I didn't know who these Cavett winners were. And as time went on, I knew the Cavett winner because almost everybody did once you were around for a while. And then I started to know one of the CPA awardees, and then 2, and then 3. And now I know all of them, and they're my friends. And the longer you stay in NSA, the longer that you feel like you're a part of it, and you love the awards banquet. One of the piece of feedback we get from first-timers and early speakers is, I don't know why they do this whole banquet thing. It was boring. The longer you stay in, the less boring it gets. Because you start going, oh, that's my friend up there. And these people will become your friends. That's what's so cool about this professional association. Which leads me into the PSBF, which is the Professional Speaker Benefit Fund. So every year at convention and throughout the year, the NSA Foundation is raising money. And the money goes into there are two groups of recipients of the money that comes into the foundation. One are scholarships that go to high school and college students who are moving into the speaking business or in a communications field. But the other is for speakers who have fallen on hard times. I remember that the fund actually went through a bit of a crisis right after the hurricane in New Orleans, because so many of our brothers and sisters were affected by that. I had a friend who, as she was dealing with her cancer diagnosis, she could not speak for about 6 months to 8 months. And so on her behalf, I actually filled out the PSBF application, and then they had to talk to her, but she got a grant. And those grants provide funds for people who are struggling for whatever reason, who are members of NSA. It also provides scholarships to convention for members who, for whatever reason, can't afford to go. You have to be a full member. And I did get a PSBF scholarship to convention one year when my business was suffering. They don't pay for your travel or your hotel, but it paid my registration. And it made all the difference because that helped turn my business back around.
Gary, can I just put a little in there? I don't know of another organization that offers such a benefit as a member that we've had women in our chapter who had cancer as well. We had some Sandy victims from the hurricane. It's just incredible to me to belong to an organization that will truly support its members in times of need. So
exactly,
that to me is a huge benefit of this beautiful organization.
So I'm not going to hit all of these acronyms right now. I'm going to hit a few of them because you'll hear them a lot. But the reason that this acronym sheet is even in the handout is because every organization I know of loves their acronyms. NSA is not as acronym heavy as a lot, but we still have them. But we have a lot of associations we work with who also have a lot of acronyms. So MPI is one you want to know. It's Meeting Professionals International. And they are, I wouldn't say that they're a sister organization as much as they are, if you think of us, we are a vendor to MPI because folks who are part of MPI are hiring NSA members to come speak at events. These are the people you want to get to know and you want to get to love because they, for some speakers, are your bread and butter. So that's a great organization to know. IASB is the International Association of Speakers Bureaus. GSN is the Global Speakers Network. ISPI, I don't remember. Rochelle, do you remember what that one is?
I have International Society for Performance Improvement.
Performance Improvement, that's right. Yep. ASAE is the American Society of Association Executives. This is the only organization, after a certain amount of time, that I would be willing to speak for free in front of. Now, in the first 10 years of my business, I spoke for free a lot because you get experience, you get contacts, you get practice, you try out new things. You get to a point in your career where no longer when people say to you, oh, come speak for free, there'll be loads of the people in the audience who will hire you. You know what? The people in the audience want to hire you for the same amount that organization did.
That's right. That's right.
So over time, you will begin to learn which ones have actual paying members in their audience. ASAE, for me, was one of those. And for years, the only organization where I would, no matter what, if they said, come speak at ASAE or ASAE Great Ideas, which was kind of their mini conference, like our winter conference, I spoke for them, and every time I picked up good business. In fact, I'm doing a speech in 2 weeks, or a breakout session, that for a client that I've had on and off for 7 years, actually was off for a number of years, and thanks to the CSP process, and I had to reconnect with them, I'm back in again. But somebody saw me at an ASAE event, and it's turned into a 7-time visit with this client.
Wow.
So you got to know which ones you want to deal with. Yeah. ASTD is not ASTD anymore. They are now ATD, which is the Association for Talent Development, and SHRM, which is the Society of Human Resource Management. Where this may be useful to a lot of you is the local SHRMs, the regional SHRMs. So I know that a lot of folks here in my area, I'm in Dallas, are in they go to the Texas one or the HR Southwest, which is a part of SHRM. So look for those opportunities to speak. A lot of them don't pay, but they are good opportunities to get in front of paying clients. Another one that's not on the list that I'm a big fan of is PCMA, which is the Professional Convention Management Association. Again, these are people who know to hire speakers, even though you may not get paid by that association. So let's pop down to speakers bureaus. I myself have only ever used speakers bureaus a few times. part of it was that most of my business through the years was training, and speakers bureaus weren't as interested in trainers as they were in speakers. But speakers bureaus can be really, really helpful if you are a speaker who's great on the platform, you have great marketing materials, and you don't really feel like trying to market yourself. Speakers bureaus will put you into their cadre of speakers, and they will then start to try to book you. Understand that a bureau and an agent are not the same thing. So some of you may start working with an agent, and an agent is looking to book you. Speakers bureau's goal is to make their client happy. Mm-hmm. So if what that means is that they're going to offer their client Anna Banks, Rochelle Rice, or Gary Rifkin, what the speakers bureau is going to do is they're going to contact Rochelle, Anna, and me and say, I have a client that's interested in you. The date is March 12th. Are you available? And all three of us will say, yep, we're available. We put it on our calendar. Then they'll come back to us and say, okay, it's a firm hold, but it's not confirmed yet. Then they'll come back and say, I'm sorry they didn't choose you. And then I might say, well, can you tell me who they did choose? And depending on the bureau, they might say, yeah, they chose Anna Banks. And I'll be like, well, cool, they made a good choice. Mm-hmm. Now, if they say, they chose Jeffrey Hazel, I'm like, what are you kidding me? He's Speaker Hall of Fame. He's not that good. I'm kidding. But what's cool about the bureaus is that they will do a lot of the business for you. They also will take a cut, typically 25 to 30% of the fee. Should you reach out to them? It depends. My recommendation is that you start doing some research about local and national speakers bureaus. And here's the forewarning. Do not pay a lot of money for a speakers bureau to list you. They're making their money on you. They shouldn't be making their money on you. Speakers bureaus should make their money on your fee, not on you. So when they book you at, let's say, $2,000, they should be making $500 to $600 on that. They should not be charging you $1,500 to be listed. Mm-hmm. And if they're doing that, run away. Or go onto Facebook and post, hey, the Speakers Bureau is interested in me. Does anyone know anything about them? That's one of the cool things about this organization is there are people, Lois Kramer's a great example of it. She will give you the honest lowdown on what she's heard around the organization. She's a great person for you to follow on Facebook and LinkedIn. A long time, not only fan of NSA and member of NSA as a vendor, but also a really, really good speaker.
She most certainly is, Gary. And Lois has also been one of the featured speakers at NSA New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's a very good choice. Yeah. Very, very good choice.
And Gary, can I just make a comment about the speakers bureaus too? You made a great point about don't pay the money to be listed. However, the showcases, which is where a bunch of speakers come together for a speakers bureau. So, for example, I paid $600 to be in a showcase, which put me in front of a bunch of people that would hire me. That's different than being listed. That's worth a risk, I think.
That's right, especially if you're also going to get some video from it, which a lot of times you will.
Yes.
I just noticed a question from Barbara about the National Convention. I believe they always have a day rate. So if you can't go for the whole time, you can go, I only want to be there all day Monday, and you can pay the day rate. So I don't think they've announced the rates for this convention yet. Those should be coming out soon. I know that they've had packages available, but the actual convention, I looked just the other day and you couldn't register yet, but I suspect that's coming in the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I know they'll want to have it out before Winter Conference, so people that haven't yet signed up can sign up at Winter Conference in Austin. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the how do you stay current. Number one, I think you probably can kind of work through this on your own. And Rochelle, did some of them already start to work on this one a little bit?
It was recommended that they do, and that if they didn't quite know their topic, some of them are working on topics to just say, okay, what are you looking at now? What's so.
Excellent. I would recommend getting involved in the NSA Facebook group. And if you're a member, I believe this is accurate, if you're a member of your chapter, you can join the NSA members only group on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure about that, so we'll find that out. But it is a much tighter group. It's a much quieter group. And what I mean by that is that on the big group with the however many thousands of people, you'll find all kinds of folks, some of whom will actually put down NSA, which really bugged me and I was getting frustrated, found the members only group, and I find that I can then post a question in there and I get really solid feedback. Mm-hmm. So that's a great place to do it. Plus, ask people from within your chapter about what they're reading, how are they staying current, what are some things that they're working on to stay relevant, and that's really important. A quick side note, the winter conference, which is in 2.5 weeks in Austin, and for some of you it may be a little too late, but the focus of it is on change. How do I take what I'm already doing, whether I'm already a longtime speaker or a brand new speaker, and how do I leverage that expertise in a different way? So I know there's still room if you wanted to come to Austin for the winter conference, which is February 26th to the 28th.
Gary, can I just mention something really quickly?
Yeah.
And that is what we're doing right now is also part of the change that is happening in speaking.
Right.
Using various types of technology. So, you're already ahead of the curve just by participating in this training series, because you're using technology that even some of our seasoned members aren't using.
Right.
Yep. Exactly true.
And
I'm going to spend, go ahead, Rochelle.
May I also say, Gary Rifkin, are you not the co-chair of the winter conference?
Yeah, I am kind of the co-chair of the winter conference. So I kind of have a vested interest in y'all coming because it's going to be an awesome weekend. And I'm really excited about it because our lineup of speakers is really all focused on how do I leverage my expertise in different ways. So how do I take whatever it is I'm already good at and use it in maybe a different fashion to build my business going in a different direction. So I'm very excited about that. I did want to spend a minute looking at the professional code of ethics. I'm not going to read through it with you, but what I love about this code of ethics is that it's focused on us being, number one, ethical in our business, and number two, ethical in our association. Mm-hmm. And so I would recommend that if you've not yet read through the Code of Ethics, that you spend some time to do that. It's common sense, and yet not always do people realize that it's common sense. There's a gentleman in the New York chapter by the name of Bruce Weinstein, and he is a master at understanding this concept of ethics. If you get a chance to either meet Bruce or watch some of his videos, you're going to learn a lot more about ethics than perhaps you ever thought you would want to. What I love about Bruce is he makes a topic that we think is supposed to be dry really fun and interactive and entertaining, and yet you walk away thinking and maybe challenging how you look at ethics. And I think that's really important. The one I really wanted to hit was Article 4, intellectual property. In NSA, one of the things that we've learned is that we learn from each other, and we shamelessly borrow from each other, but we don't take each other's intellectual property. So we don't make as our own something that we learned from someone else. We reference where we learned it, and we only use it if we have permission to use it. So that exercise that I mentioned that I've been using now for 18 years, we were told at the beginning of that session, use any of these that you would like. I do an exercise that I always tell people when I'm doing my Speak Like a Pro workshop. I'll say, feel free to use this. All I ask is that you maybe somewhere mention, oh, I learned this from this Gary Rifkin guy. That's all I ask. And then use it as in any way you would like. There are some pieces of my IP, especially in the work I do with Core Clarity, that you can't use unless you're a certified Core Clarity facilitator. And so this intellectual property piece is really critical. The other one that I think should go without saying, and yet because of I think the internet and how comfortable people have become in being blunt because they're hiding behind a blog or whatever, is this respect and collegiality. Just because you can hide behind a blog or a screen name doesn't mean you ever should. And I always like to go back to when I used to teach sexual harassment training. I said, when you say or do something, always think to myself, number one, would I say it or do it in front of my mother? Now, I know some of you are going, oh, she's worse than I am. Would I say it or do it if my actions would land me on the front page of the newspaper? And would I say it or do it if it was happening to somebody in my family? And when you answer those questions and you really think about it, it still doesn't clear everything, but it gets us to start thinking from not just our own perspective, but the perspective of others around us. And I think that's really important. So I just wanted to mention those. I think it's an easy to read document. It's not written in a lot of legalese. And I think it's really important. So I would recommend that if you've not had a chance to look at the ethics policy, that you do so. Plus, when you become a full member, you actually sign something that says, I've read and I understand the ethics policy. I think about 98% of people don't, but having served on the ethics committee, I love it. So I've definitely read it, and I highly recommend that you do so. Let's talk a little bit about first impressions. First of all, I may be the first person to tell you that first impression isn't everything. Everyone tells you, you only have one chance to make a first impression. And I say, yeah, but you have a lot of chances to make a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one. So is the first impression important? Absolutely. But I've known people who spend all their energy on the first impression. And the problem is when you do that, you stop spending energy on just being you. And being you is critical. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be you and still put a nice book cover on you, which is, I think, what the first impression is all about. So should your first business card be the slickest business card you've ever had? Probably not. Doesn't have to be. But it shouldn't look like you just typed it up with typos on it and grammatical issues on it. So just make sure you don't have to spend thousands of dollars, but you also should have somebody proofread it. I can't believe the number of times that I've gotten somebody's card that they printed 2,000 because it was cheaper if you got 2,000, and they're all printed with a typo on them. I remember an episode of Friends where they discover a mistake in Rachel's resume, and she goes, "Do you think it's on all of them?" And I'm like, well, no, they caught it at the Xerox machine. You know, it doesn't happen, so you have to double check those things. But these concepts of, does my business card look professional? Do my letterhead and email auto signature look professional? Here's my pet peeve. Please don't let your signature on your email be longer than the actual message. I know people who write a 4-line message and then their signature line is 20 lines long. It boggles my mind. The purpose of your signature line, in my opinion, should be so someone knows how to contact you again, 1 or 2 things that add credibility to who you are, and that's it. When you start adding, and of course the links, like, you know, those buttons to the Facebook, LinkedIn, but those should all be on one space. But and I'm sure I'm probably putting down people that you all love, but the people that have 30 lines and author of, and then they list their 20 books, 10 of which are not really books. They're books that only their mother bought, but it is a book, so they've listed it. It's funny, Rochelle and Anna are cracking up because we all know people who do this.
Oh, yes.
But I will tell you that over time, you'll get to a point where you're going to want something a little more professional. And so I have actually 2 businesses, although one business is a subset of the other because I now work full-time with Core Clarity, which is this card. And it probably, I don't know if it's coming in backwards. I guess not. It should be good. And so we've designed this card, and then on the back, I very clearly want to have a space on the back for me to write notes and for somebody else to write notes. So when I hand you my card, there should be a spot someplace where if they want to write I met Rochelle at the NSA New Jersey meeting. Because I don't know about you, but I don't remember where I met people. So when you do the fancy glossy, and it's glossy everywhere, I can't write on the back. And I want to write on the back of your card. The other thing is that, should you do a picture on your card or not? Well, a lot of speakers do. Here's the problem. I took that picture and I've lost all my weight. I haven't kept that weight off. So this picture, as cool as it is kind of me from 3 years and 30 pounds ago. So just be careful. A lot of us love to do pictures on our cards, and I like it because it's memorable and we are our brand. But just be aware that you're probably going to need to redo your cards every couple of years because you change, as does your picture. Mm-hmm. Does your website get you booked? Probably, if it's good. Some of you will have a website that is your online brochure. Some of you have a website that is designed to pull people in. You're going to have to make that call, and at the beginning, it being the online brochure is enough. Then over time, you're going to need it to be more interactive. That pulls people to start to interact with you, and that's a real powerful piece. let's see, do I have the credentials I need to support my efforts? The most important credential you need is to be good on the platform. All the other credentials, the CSP, the MA, the MBA, the PhD, the DED, the MZXY, whatever, none of that matters if you're not good. I know people who get booked once a lot, but never twice, because their marketing materials are good, but the first impression people have when they actually start to deliver is, oh. You don't want it to be, oh, you want it to be, oh, we would have paid that guy a lot more. You should be at a point where you're thinking to yourself, I can raise my rates because they love me that much. All right, so that's what, to me, the first impression is you got to get really, really good at delivering your material. That's what the professionalism is all about. I would highly recommend that you spend some time working on your, not your elevator pitch. I personally am not a fan of the elevator pitch because I think the elevator pitch can be very stale. Although there are people who craft them beautifully, I want your first words out of your mouth to be something that somebody goes, really? Tell me how you do that, or tell me why you do that, or tell me what does that look like. So the two best at teaching how to do that are Lois Kramer, who we mentioned earlier, and Mark LeBlanc. They come at it slightly differently, but they're both, their goal is to get you to have the first words out of your mouth be something that the person goes, oh, that's interesting. I want to know more. Whereas when you do the elevator pitch, about halfway through they go, she's giving me her elevator pitch. Mm-hmm. The minute they realize that you're giving them the elevator pitch, you've lost them. You want to engage them in such a way that you are being totally professional, but totally you. And they're not always the same thing, but they should be. And what I mean by that is this question, is it better to be professional or be you? What if you were always professional and the professional you was totally authentic and genuine, but still professional? So one of the things that you'll discover, if you haven't already, is that when you see Rochelle speak on the platform and then you see her backstage or in the audience, you're not seeing two different people. There are some folks out there, when I've seen them, I thought, wow, and then I meet them and I go, oh. You don't want the, oh. You want them to go, the whole time, they are the same. Be professional on the platform. Be professional off the platform. Be personal and authentic on the platform. Be personal and authentic off the platform. That's huge. And that, I believe, is what makes the good speakers great. Mm-hmm. It's why someone like Karen Jacobson, if any of you know Karen, who is the immediate past president of the New York chapter, why someone like Karen, when you see her perform on stage, you think, wow, she's larger than life. When you meet her, you go, oh, she's performance larger than life, but she's so unbelievably real. A lot of you know Cheryl I'm not going to say her, Bindlegrass? Am I saying that right?
Bindlegrass, yeah.
And I've seen her speak once, and I thought, wow, this is the person that I met when she wasn't on stage. That's what I like. That's what I look for. I want that person to be the same on and off. The reason that she chose me, Chris Clark Epstein, to be my mentor, and this is somebody you want to get to know, is that she's the same on the platform as off. The only difference being she watches her words a little more on the platform because I've been to her house, and let's just say that she's a little more casual when she's not on the platform, but awesomely, authentically the same in both settings. So here's your homework, and then we're going to open it up for some questions and comments. Your homework is, I want you to think about, it is, let's say it's February of 2018. It's 2 years from now. You've now been a member of NSA for well over a year. You've been a full professional member of NSA. What advice would you be giving around professionalism and professional awareness to the folks that are in the academy, like you're sitting right now? I want you to, that's your homework. List 5 pieces of advice that you would give somebody who's in your shoes 2 years from now, which means you're going to have to do a little internal and external homework to figure out what that might be. NSA is going to look different 2 years from now. It's going to look different 20 years from now when one of you is getting the Cavett Award. Yeah. And how cool would that be? Cool. But as it grows and changes, it changes with its members, and that's who you are. And you are the future of NSA. Whether you are brand new to this industry or brand new to speaking, or you're just brand new to NSA, you're the future of NSA. So let's open it up to some questions. We'll have some discussion, and then before we are running out of time, I'll do a formal close because I think that you always have to have a real close at the end of a speech. So I turn it over to Rochelle and Anna to kind of facilitate some questions and comments.
Super, thanks, Gary. And if you wouldn't mind, Gary, can we take you off your screen sharing?
Yep, that's a great idea. Which means I have to figure out how to do that.
That's okay. So. We're all learning. So first of all, Gary, I just want to say thank you very much. I mean, it's a ton of information. I'm sure everybody is like, whoa, but you really set the very professional tone of the organization, and it's the foundation of going forward, really. I really believe that is just everything you need to know for a solid foundation to go forward. So, Anna, do you have any thoughts to add? You can unmute and add.
Okay, thanks, Rochelle. No, I think that Gary did an excellent job, and I love the homework. And in fact, before in the last few minutes, we do want to get back to the homework that many of you did last time, from Unit 1. So hopefully you did all your homework from that too, and you'll be at least ready, a couple of you will at least be ready to share. But I think that covering the professional ethics and the things about our association was very, very important, especially because you are in the Aspiring Speaker Program and you are aspiring to be professional members of NSA. Many of our members have never had the opportunity that you have to go through this in such a succinct fashion, with all of this type of information just in a matter of a few minutes. So Gary, just thank you so much. And if you have any questions, please, did we want to raise the hand, or did we just want to let them just jump in, Rochelle?
I think just unmute and jump in and we'll be good to go. I'll moderate one from here. Questions either with Gary? Let's start with Gary directly, and then we'll switch it back to Module 1, or either one, Module 1 or Module 2. Questions? You can unmute the lower left corner. Was it mind-blowing?
No questions and no comments. I can't believe it.
I'm not sure that topic was mind-blowing, but I'm hoping that at least it got some people thinking.
A lot of information, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I wasn't around for Module 1, so my question pertains to Module 2. And we talked about the Speakers Bureau and talking for free. Is that the best way for me to start my business as a professional speaker? Is to start speaking for free? And if that's so, where should I start? Should I start with some of the acronyms, the long list of acronyms that's on the page? Or, I mean, what do you guys think? I want to know.
If you're starting right at the beginning, I wouldn't start with the acronyms. I would look for the local Chamber of Commerce. I would look for any group, especially someplace where you have a passion. So if you have a passion in a educational setting, in a spiritual setting, find a spot where you would love to speak. I'll tell you, one of the first speeches I ever gave was to a local group of the Girl Scouts, because I loved being in the Cub Scouts when I was a kid, and then a Boy Scout, that when the executive director of our local, actually, interestingly, was when I was living in New Jersey. It was the Girl Scouts Council of Bergen County that I spoke for. And that was beginning to build my skill set. I did a lot of speaking at colleges where the students loved it, and either it was free or it was very low fee, but that's how I began to build my skills.
Mm-hmm. And you know, just to add to that, I know when I first started speaking, first of all, I was in I guess I was in an entirely different industry because my background at that time was accounting. So I always took the opportunity of looking for tax saving things for people, what businesses could use, different business ideas that businesses could use, and then started putting that out there. And so that became a big selling point. And as a result of it, some of them would ask me, how much did I charge? So it was like, yes. I was willing to do it for free. When they ask how much you charge, then you come up with a number.
That's right. Exactly right. And so Charles, interesting, or Raheem, is that what it is, Raheem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Be very ready to answer that question. What do you charge? Don't be afraid to say to somebody, now, because I love this organization or because this is such a passion of mine, although I normally charge $250, I'm willing to do a discount for you, partially because I need to get 20 paid speeches in order to qualify for membership at NSA. And it doesn't matter what the fee is, as long as it's a true fee. It can't be all right, you gave me a free dinner, that's my fee. There has to be a real fee. But a lot of folks, when they're first joining NSA, will speak for a low fee, and they'll let the client know, now you're getting $1,000 speech here. I'm giving it to you for $250 because I have two requests from you. One, I want to be able to list this as a real speech for my NSA application, so I'll need a real check or something that can prove you paid me. But two, if I'm good, if I deliver what I promise, you're going to tell 5 people who could potentially hire me at $1,000 that you recommend me. That's all I ask. For that, I will give you a discount to $250. Boom. Now they're going, oh, this guy's worth $1,000 and we're getting him for $250? Done. Then you got to follow up with them and say, all right, did I deliver what I promised? And inevitably, they're going to say, wow, you were way better than we thought you were going to be. Good. Who are the 5 people that you can recommend? And by the way, I'm happy for you to make the call first, and then I'm happy to follow up with them. Let them do the work for you. If you deliver, they will want to do the work for you.
I probably take it another step further. I probably also ask for a letter.
Yes.
That's from that business background.
And you may even
ask for a letter of recommendation, or just to put in that if they said, wow, you were just better than I even thought, I would say, great, could you put that in a letter? And it doesn't have to be very long.
That's right.
It needs to be a couple of sentences in their words on their letterhead.
Yep, that's perfect.
Can you guys hear me? This is Charles.
Yes,
we can now. Yes, Charles.
Yeah, another good place for him if you're just getting started is Rotary clubs. They meet every single week, and they're always looking for good topics. And most of the people in there are the head of their community. So a lot of them are members of associations. They go to association meetings. They go to national conferences.
Right.
They're involved. But it's a great place. 20-minute speeches. They'll actually give you lunch. They're not going to pay you anything. But it's a good place for you to practice home. You could easily do 20 of them a year to get started off the ground. And another thing you could do while you're doing that is you get their business cards. It's a great place to start building your list. One of the things you're going to learn in NSA is that you want to build a marketing list. So when you have products or speeches, you can let people who have already seen you speak know when you're speaking or offering a product coming up. So you offer something free, maybe a pamphlet, a book, or a 15-minute consultation in exchange for anybody's business card, and then you put them on your list, and then you can contact them. As far as I've heard, as far as speakers bureaus, you need to be fairly established before a speaking bureau will hire you. So you almost have to wait until until you don't need them anymore before they'll start hiring you, is the joke in the industry.
Well, because they can't make any money on you if you're only bringing in $2,000. They're not going to make enough money. If you're bringing in $20,000, they're happy to make $5,000 off of you and book you.
And you could also do your own event. You can start your own event with if you think you can get 20 people in a room who are excited about hearing you, that's a good place to start making money giving presentations. If you can find somebody to either donate or you could swap for a room or something like that, or get an inexpensive room, and that's a good place to start speaking, sharing your content, and making income.
Let me also comment for a moment about where to get the jobs. Where do you get this? How do you get started in speaking? Many of you are already in an industry, even if that may not be your eventual topic, but you're in an industry that has associations and all. So, for example, I was a dancer, but then in the fitness industry, so suddenly I was talking to the fitness trainers. I then worked over into eating disorders because that was part of my work, and then I was working with therapists and those people, the health professionals that work with the overweight clients that I work with. So look at your industry as well, your industry and your community as places to start being the quote expert. And these are like what I call, would you say, Gary, the low-hanging fruit, meaning it's like right there in front of you. And just to get you going and sort of, even if you don't know, I know some of you aren't completely clear on what your topic or expertise is yet, but go with what's close to you. And the last thing I want to just remind all of you is many times the people that are closest to us, your parents, your siblings, your aunts and uncles, they don't know what you do. So be sure to tell them, I want to be a professional speaker. I'm moving in the direction of being a professional speaker. And this is what it looks like. And so here's what I'd like to do. Because you'd be amazed how many people don't even know that you're chugging along, but they don't even know what you're doing. So let them know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Raheem. Anyone else with a question or comment, either from tonight or from the module 1?
Yeah, Todd Smith here. How are you? Thank you very much, Gary. Pertaining to the Rotaries, I've already spoken to the Rotaries, and they're just waiting on me. I mean, it's really very simple.
Cool.
Particularly if you're in the business community and you've done something, and I don't mean by something, you've helped someone in the Rotary out with a charity or something, they're more than grateful to reciprocate and when you call them and ask.
Yep.
Just one comment. It's not really a sales opportunity. You want to go there and sell them product. You want to go in there with content. You want to let them share some kind of a pivotal experience or something that you think is important. That you're not going in there to sell insurance when you go to a Rotary Club.
Right.
Yeah, because they don't like that at all. They really don't. They're really looking for content. They're really
and it's actually unprofessional. If they don't have an expectation that you're going to be selling product as a result of your speech, then you shouldn't sell product as a result of your speech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to say if you have a book, you can't bring a book and say my book is available for sales. It's just you don't go in there and try and sell your book from the beginning to end.
And can I add a tip to that? If you have a book to sell, reference the book while it's in your hand during your speech. So if there's a little vignette in the book, read it right from the book to the audience. What that does, and you don't even have to say it's for sale. They'll see them in the back of the room. But if you read from the book, you are actually quoting the expert who just happens to be you. And as you get good at that, they don't feel like you're hard selling them at all, and then they go, "Oh, that was cool. I want to know more about what's in that book."
Well, Gary, let me back it up one more step too. So those of you who may not be even to authorship yet, you could consider a white paper, which is just a very simple. This is your 10 steps to financial freedom. Here's your 5 top weight loss tips, whatever. And this is just something that you can also take. It's kind of a free giveaway that you can do if you don't have that book ready yet. So.
Yep. Cool.
Other thoughts and comments?
Again, to step back to, Rochelle had a comment last week that try to accomplish one goal a day towards building your speaking career. And I just shared in the Facebook page just a little tool that we might want to use as a group. Commit to 3. Now it allows you to set 3 goals a day, and it'll keep up with your matrix on anybody who joins the group. It's a good accountability tool, so we'll all see what you're putting down there and what you're actually checking off, and it's something we might be able to share. So you can look at that on the Facebook page that Anna set up for this group, the Aspiring Speakers group?
And it's commit, T-O, and the number 3.com.
Yes.
Commit, T-O, number 3.com. Great. Okay. Okay, anyone else? Thoughts or comments? All right, let me ask you then, how is the format working for you? Is the Zoom, do you feel like that's working for you? You feel like you're connected as a group and good interaction? Okay.
They haven't unmuted.
That's okay, I got the head bob. Okay, and I have one, I'm excited that we're able to do this. I have one favor for someone out there. Can someone do a screen, somebody raise their hand and just, can someone do a screenshot of this?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody tell us when. Is it you, Anna, doing the screenshot?
I'm going to try to do it. Let me see.
Tell us when, because we want to smile.
Oh, you want me to use my, I can use my camera, my phone.
Okay,
Let me
great.
see if I can do that. I was trying to see whether I could minimize this screen and do it right from, wait a minute, hold on.
I got it coming. Hold on. Everybody smile in just a minute.
Oh, wait a minute, yeah.
Everybody smile. I get the whole screen on a screenshot. Smile, smile pretty.
Yeah, I have one too now.
Okay, I got a good one.
Great, thank you.
Except for me, I don't look good, but everybody else does.
What?
We're fantastic.
Yeah, got it.
Gary, let me turn it back to a couple things before we let Gary do our closing. Just a reminder to get very involved in the Facebook group, because that's where we'll be able to do a lot of interaction with each other. I hate for you to have the whole 30 days go by till our next session and we don't have an interaction of what's going on. Also, please feel free to reach out to me or Anna or Charles. We're here to serve you and really help you. Don't, like I said, don't let that 30 days go by and don't feel like you're on your own. We're here to support you and completely believe in you and want to see you get these 20 paid speeches to get in the course of the 12 months that we're together. So, Anna, do you have anything else before we turn it to Gary for a close?
No, but I will be reaching out to, I'll be reaching out to you personally, just to see how you are doing with your homework assignments. You know, I'm a teacher. So there are homework assignments that you were given, and that's not, you know, it's to help you to move along throughout, you know, this 10-month process. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to have the tools that you need. You want to be able to answer the questions. You need to know how your roadmap is actually developing. And so we just want to make sure that that happens for you. So I'll be reaching out to each one of you. Hopefully, well, I should say that many of you have joined the Facebook group. I'm still waiting for some of you, and hopefully we will get that handled. You'll be able to get that handled within the next week. Thank you so much for your support as I was away in Paraguay, but I'm back now, so I'll be able to respond.
Great. Gary, my friend, take it away for the closing.
All right, so I have one more assignment for you, and that is that at some point in the next 30 days, you are to contact one of your colleagues in this group, not Charles or Anna or Rochelle, although you're welcome to contact them too, but one of your peers, and you have two assignments. One, ask them to hold you accountable for something, whatever that is, let them know what it is. And two, ask them how you can help them. Because one of the things that we've learned in NSA is these connections that we make, not only are they long-standing, but they are what keep us going. When things are great, the first people we want to talk to are our speaker buddies. When things are lousy, the first people we need to talk to are our speaker buddies. Mm-hmm. So when I got that awesome award this summer, I quoted one of the legends of our chapter, Joe Charbonneau, who always said to all of us, he said, you got to give, give, give before you get. It was all about if you give service, only then do you deserve to get something back. my corollary to that is that what I've learned is that every time I give, I get. So jump in, serve the chapter, serve the organization, because when you do that and you get involved in your chapter and in the national association, you learn so much and you get connected. And then you're backstage and you're going, I want to stand next to you when I go out there for my CSP, which is what Rochelle and I were complaining about because we didn't get to stand next to each other. Because you have these buddies throughout the country that you don't even know that well, but you adore. That's my request. And when I see you all this summer at convention, especially if you come a day early for the Cabot Institute on Friday, which I will be leading, I would love to chat with you about what you've learned over these last 8 months and how you're beginning to apply it so that you can be an outstanding member of this association. Back to you guys, Rochelle and Anna and Charles.
Fantastic. Let's see, I got one last question here. Do we have a class roster with contact info? Oh, that's a great one. Anna, do you think we could provide that to everyone?
Absolutely.
Great.
Well, yes, I can definitely do that. In fact, you already have each other's emails because when I send out the group email, I don't hide it. I don't think I do. but I will put that roster together and send it out within the next 24 hours.
Wonderful. I want to say thank you to Anna Banks, who's the Dean of the NSA New Jersey Aspiring Speakers Program. Thank you to Charles, the President-elect, and to Cheryl, also the current President, who said yes to this program. And most especially, thank you to Gary, just for saying yes to me. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you all very, very much. We'll give a round of applause.
Yay!
Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you very, very much. And please reach out to one another and reach out to us, and we'll see you in March. Take care. Thank you, Gary, so much. Appreciate it.
You are very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rochelle.
You're welcome, guys.
Everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.